In today's Arizona real estate market, wildfire risk is no longer a background concern. It is a frontline issue that directly impacts property value, insurability, disclosure obligations, and whether a transaction successfully closes. As a real estate professional operating in 2026, you are expected to understand not only contracts and negotiations, but also environmental risks that directly affect your clients. Wildfire exposure has become one of the most critical of those risks, especially in areas like northern Arizona, the wildland-urban interface around Phoenix, and rural developments. This course begins by grounding you in the Firewise concept, which will carry through every section of this class as we connect risk, disclosure, insurance, and professional responsibility. The Firewise program, developed by the National Fire Protection Association, NFPA, is a national initiative designed to empower homeowners and communities to reduce wildfire risk through education, planning, and proactive mitigation strategies. This is not just a safety program, it is a real estate issue. When you understand Firewise, you begin to understand how properties are evaluated by insurers, how communities are assessed for risk, and how buyers make decisions. This ties directly into your duties under AAC R4 281101, which requires licensees to exercise reasonable care and disclose material facts that may affect a buyer's decision. Understanding Firewise in practice. At its core, Firewise focuses on education, risk assessment, and mitigation. It encourages both individual homeowners and entire communities to take action in a proactive and organized way. For example, a homeowner in Payson may create defensible space by clearing brush within 30 feet of the home, trimming tree branches away from structures, and using non-combustible landscaping materials. At the same time, a community in Prescott may organize a Firewise committee, conduct a neighborhood risk assessment, and implement a coordinated mitigation plan to reduce overall fire exposure. As a real estate professional, this is where your role begins to evolve. You are no longer just helping a client buy or sell a property, you are helping them understand the risks tied to that property. Imagine listing a home in Flagstaff that backs to forest land. If the seller has taken Firewise steps, such as installing a metal roof, clearing vegetation, and participating in a recognized Firewise USA community, that becomes a powerful marketing advantage. On the other hand, if those steps have not been taken, it may become a disclosure issue or even an obstacle to obtaining insurance. Why Firewise matters in real estate transactions. Firewise principles directly impact property value, insurability, and marketability. In today's market, insurance companies are increasingly evaluating wildfire risk before issuing or renewing policies. In some Arizona areas, buyers are unable to close because they cannot obtain affordable homeowners insurance. This creates a direct connection between wildfire preparedness and contract performance. A buyer may have a financing contingency that depends on insurability, and if insurance cannot be secured, the transaction may fall apart. This ties into Arizona case law such as Hill v. Jones, which reinforces the obligation to disclose material facts that may affect a buyer's decision. While wildfire risk itself may not always be a defect, known conditions, such as repeated fire exposure, lack of defensible space, or inability to obtain insurance, can become material facts requiring disclosure. Additionally, under ARS Paraf 32-2153, failure to disclose known material risks could expose a licensee to disciplinary action. The role of the modern licensee. In 2026, the role of the real estate licensee has expanded significantly. You are now expected to guide clients through environmental risk considerations, including wildfire exposure. This includes directing clients to resources, asking the right questions, and helping them understand how Firewise principles apply to their property. It does not mean you are a fire expert, but it does mean you are responsible for recognizing red flags and recommending further investigation when appropriate. For example, when working with a buyer looking at a property in Sedona, you might ask, has the property been evaluated for wildfire risk? Is it part of a Firewise USA community? Has the seller completed any mitigation work? These questions not only protect your client, but also demonstrate professionalism and compliance with AAC R4 281101 standards of care. Connecting to insurance and DeFi resources. Another critical component of Firewise in real estate is insurance availability. The Arizona Department of Insurance and Financial Institutions, DIFI, maintains resources that help identify which insurance carriers are writing policies in fire-prone areas. As a licensee, you should be aware that insurance availability can change rapidly, and your clients may face challenges securing coverage. For example, a buyer under contract in a rural area of Arizona may discover during the inspection period that insurance premiums are significantly higher than expected, or that coverage is unavailable altogether. This directly impacts the buyer's ability to proceed and may trigger contract contingencies. By understanding Firewise and staying informed about insurance trends, you can better prepare your clients and avoid surprises during the transaction. Setting the foundation for the course. As we move forward into the next sections of this course, we will build on this foundation by exploring how wildfire risk ties into disclosure requirements, contract obligations, and broker supervision. Everything starts here, with awareness. When you understand Firewise, you begin to see how environmental risk is woven into every stage of a real estate transaction, from listing to closing. This is not a separate topic, it is part of the modern standard of practice. Online discussion. What is the primary goal of the Firewise program, and why is it important for real estate professionals to understand it? Answer. The primary goal of the Firewise program is to reduce wildfire risk through education, planning, and mitigation at both the individual and community level. It is important for real estate professionals because wildfire risk directly impacts property value, insurability, disclosure obligations, and the ability to close transactions. How can a real estate agent use Firewise principles as a marketing advantage for a listing? Answer. An agent can highlight Firewise improvements such as defensible space, fire-resistant materials, and community participation as features that reduce risk, improve insurability, and make the property more attractive to buyers. Why is insurance availability considered a critical part of wildfire risk in real estate transactions? Answer. Insurance availability affects whether a buyer can obtain financing and complete the purchase. If insurance is unavailable or too expensive due to wildfire risk, the transaction may be delayed or canceled.